The polished mahogany doors of the Gilded Spoon swished open, and I stepped inside, the familiar scent of gourmet spices and subtle cleaning agents filling my nostrils. Tonight, though, I wasn't Jonathan Vance, CEO of the Vance Restaurant Group. Tonight, I was just Jack, a regular guy hoping for a decent meal. I'd swapped my bespoke suit for a worn leather jacket and jeans, and traded my usual polished demeanor for a more subdued, approachable air. This was my annual undercover visit, a tradition I started to keep my finger on the pulse of what was really happening in my establishments, away from the curated perfection presented for a CEO. The hostess, a young woman with a bright, welcoming smile, led me to a small table in a quieter corner. As I scanned the bustling dining room, my eyes landed on something that immediately snagged my attention. Near the kitchen entrance, a young waitress, no older than my own daughter, stood with her back partially to me, her shoulders shaking subtly. Even from a distance, I could tell she was crying. A knot tightened in my stomach. This wasn't right. Not here. Not in my restaurant. I kept an eye on her as I pretended to peruse the menu. She dabbed at her eyes with a napkin, took a deep breath, and then forced a smile onto her face as she approached a nearby table. Her professionalism was commendable, but the raw pain I'd glimpsed was unsettling. When she finally made her way to my table, her eyes were a little red, but her smile was impeccable. "Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Gilded Spoon. My name is Sarah, and I'll be your server tonight. Can I get you something to drink to start?" Her voice was soft, a little husky, but steady. "Just water for now, please, Sarah," I replied, trying to keep my voice even, not revealing the tremor of concern I felt. As she turned to leave, I noticed a slight tremor in her hands. A few minutes later, she returned with my water and took my order. I chose a simple pasta dish, something that wouldn't require too much fuss. As she placed the menu back on the table, I couldn't help myself. "Sarah," I began gently, "are you all right? You seem a little upset." Her forced smile faltered for a split second, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. "Oh no, sir, I'm perfectly fine. Just a long day, you know how it is." She tried to brush it off, but her gaze dropped to the table. "I understand long days," I said, leaning forward slightly, lowering my voice. "But sometimes a long day feels a lot heavier when you're carrying something else too." She looked up, her eyes wide, and I saw a fresh shimmer of tears. I don't know what you mean, sir." "Well, I saw you earlier," I admitted, my tone empathetic. "And I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. This is a good place, and everyone here should feel supported." Her facade crumbled. A single tear traced a path down her cheek. "It's just my grandmother," she whispered, her voice cracking. "She's in the hospital. Emergency surgery. And I don't know how we're going to pay for it. My tips barely cover rent, and my parents, they're struggling too." She bit her lip, clearly mortified that she was confiding in a stranger. "I'm so sorry, sir. I shouldn't be burdening you with this." My heart ached. This wasn't just a long day. This was a young woman burdened by a weight that no one her age should have to carry. I thought of my own grandmother, how much she meant to me. The thought of Sarah going through this alone, while working in one of my restaurants, filled me with a deep sense of responsibility. "Sarah, please don't apologize," I said, my voice firm but gentle. "You're not burdening me. You're just being honest. And honesty is a rare thing these days." I paused, formulating my next words carefully. I couldn't reveal myself as the CEO just yet. That would change the dynamic entirely. Look, I continued, I might not be able to solve all your problems, but maybe I can help with a small part of it. What's your break time? She blinked, confused. In about 20 minutes, sir. Why? Meet me out front then, I said, pulling out a crisp $100 bill from my wallet and placing it discreetly under my water glass. Consider this a small advance on a potential opportunity. Just meet me, okay? She looked at the money, then at me, her brow furrowed with bewilderment and a touch of suspicion. Sir, I can't accept this. It's not a tip for the food yet, Sarah, I insisted gently. It's just a gesture. For 20 minutes of your time. If you decide not to meet me, then it's a very generous tip. But I think you'll want to hear what I have to say. Her eyes searched mine, and I tried to convey as much genuine concern and trustworthiness as I could. Finally, she nodded slowly. Okay, sir. 20 minutes. When she appeared outside, the cool evening air seemed to bring a little color back to her cheeks. She still looked worried, but there was a flicker of hope in her eyes now. Thank you for meeting me, Sarah, I said, stepping closer. First, how about we grab a coffee somewhere quieter? My treat. Over coffee at a small cafe down the street, I began to explain, not who I was, but what I could do. Sarah, I overheard you talking about your grandmother's medical bills, I started. I happen to know a little bit about that kind of thing. I'm part of an organization that helps employees in need. We call it the Helping Hands Fund. It's completely confidential, and it's designed for situations exactly like yours. Her eyes widened. An organization? But I've never heard of it. It's new, very discreet, I fudged a little, knowing I would make it very real and very public in the coming days. And it's specifically for people who work hard and find themselves in a tough spot. We believe that no one should have to choose between their family's health and their ability to keep working. I explained how the fund worked, making it sound like a benevolent charity rather than the direct intervention of her boss. I told her it could cover her grandmother's medical expenses, and even provide some short-term financial relief for her family. Tears welled up in her eyes again, but this time they were tears of relief, of disbelief. I don't know what to say. This is unbelievable. Are you serious? Completely serious, Sarah, I assured her, reaching across the table to gently pat her hand. All you need to do is provide some basic information, and we'll take care of the rest. No strings attached. Just a helping hand when you need it most. She started to cry openly then, tears streaming down her face, but a wide, genuine smile broke through. Thank you, she choked out. Thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to me. I think I might have some idea, I said, a warmth spreading through me that no successful business deal had ever quite managed. And Sarah, there's one more thing. I also happen to be looking for someone to help manage a new training program for our front-of-house staff. Someone with excellent customer service, a strong work ethic, and a genuine heart. Someone who knows what it's like to be on the front lines and still keep a smile on their face even when things are tough. What do you say? Her jaw dropped. A training program? Me. You, I confirmed with a nod. Think about it. We can talk more tomorrow. And by the way, my real name is Jonathan. I'm the CEO of the Vance Restaurant Group. The look on her face was priceless. Pure shock, followed by a flush of embarrassment, and then, slowly, a glimmer of understanding and awe. "Now, how about we get you back to the Gilded Spoon, Sarah?" I said, standing up. "You've got a job to finish, and I've got a new program to launch. And your grandmother has some medical bills that are about to disappear." As we walked back, the city lights seemed to twinkle a little brighter. I wasn't just building a restaurant empire. I was building a community, a family. And seeing Sarah's tears of despair turn into tears of hope, that was the most satisfying achievement of all. The Gilded Spoon, I realized, wasn't just about gourmet food. It was about the people who made it shine, and making sure their well-being was just as important as the bottom line.